Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Morning Show After Show, where we connect the dots the morning after.
And we can't wait to discuss the latest episode called Confirmations.
And as always, this episode will be full of spoilers, but only from episode 8.
For the Morning Show fans who might be joining us for the first time, hi, welcome. I'm Morgan Rojas and I'm a member of the Hollywood Critics Association. And once again, I'm joined by my co-hosts and fellow HCA members, Kiyra Lynn and Kevin Taft. Hi guys.
Hello.
So I have to say, this was my favorite episode of the entire season, hands down. The tension, the drama.
The chip.
The chip.
How did you know I was gonna say that?
It's really funny because as all the chip-episodes were happening, I was thinking,
falling.
yeah, the chips
Oh,
were
no.
falling. I was thinking of you.
I'm so predictable.
But you know what though? I don't disagree with you. I really loved Mark Duplass in this. He was very good. Crazy, but very good.
Yeah, totally agree. Kevin, what do you think?
I thought it was an excellent episode too, and I think it's Jennifer Aniston's best work so far this season.
Yeah.
Now for some Morning Show After Show mail. If you want to send over a question for one of us or submit a question for a possible upcoming guest, send us an email at shows@hollywoodcriticsassociation.com. Your question could be featured here or be answered by one of your favorite actors from the show. So let's get to it. This is from Jasmine Ojeda from Los Angeles. She says, hello, I really like the seasons of The Morning Show, but my least favorite character is Hal.
Yeah.
It feels to me like an unnecessary amount of drama and stress for Bradley to deal with. Welcome to real life. What do you guys think?
You know, he's not meant to be likable, and the actor that plays him, I feel, does a really good job, but I feel his place in season 2 is to show that trauma dynamic that he and Bradley and the family have. Like, I think, you know, her dealing with her sexuality and, you know, figuring this all out and being outed, I think him, as destructive as he is it's good television. He's adding to that drama. I may not necessarily like him, but I don't think we're supposed to.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a redeeming quality that he has to make me kind of like him, and I, for the life of me, like, can't think of one thing.
He's had moments, though, I feel like, where he's sober.
Yeah.
That they get along, and he says some smart things about his mom, and he talks to their mom, and he talks to Bradley like kind of like as an adult. And there are those moments that I like him, and then suddenly he goes back into the stuff again.
Right.
So.
I mean, it's typical for, you know, the morning show sort of characters. It's like they
waffle.
Yeah, they reel you in, and next thing you just want to throw them back.
Right. Well, and also being an addict, it's kind of, he is selfish because that's just kind of what he's dealing with right now. So it makes sense that he, you know, is a thorn in Bradley's side.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I really do like watching her do the "this is my baby brother" sort of dynamic. You know, oh, I need to take care of my baby brother. But then, you know, to see the flip side and then see Laura kind of almost babying her in a way, in the motherly way that she obviously didn't get at home. So it's an interesting way to see how it kind of, the tides sort of turn.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this episode was an emotional roller coaster, no doubt. It was also full of surprises, and we have one more in store for you at home. So stay tuned for our very special interview coming up next. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us and the Morning Show After Show. We are so excited to be delving into season 2. Season 2 is amazing. We can't stop watching, and we are, just so excited to kind of pick your brain.
Great.
It's pretty amazing that you've been a producer on so many, not just even so many shows, but so many hit shows like Friday Night Lights, Bates Motel, and now the Morning Show. Do you have a recipe for success?
That's a good question. I don't. I think I tend to gravitate. I mean, as all creative people do, to projects that you connect with. So I would say there's something in every one of those shows that I very personally connected with. And you can, that to me is like your compass, you know, and then you follow that to tell the story you're telling. So I think just having a really passionate interest in what you're talking about is probably the thing that I try to bring to the table.
Were you at all nervous when the writers rewrote the second season to incorporate the events of 2020. Were you at all nervous relying and focusing heavily on COVID?
I rejected the idea a few times because I didn't want to do it. And I didn't, as a viewer, I was concerned if people would really want to watch something about COVID. But the more I thought about it, it seemed impossible to do the show without acknowledging it because it's a news show.
Right.
It's a news show. And what are you just going to miss that? It's just, it just went by and you didn't see it. So then we started deconstructing what we had and repurposing it and rethinking it and figuring out how to do it.
And I'm sure that also brought you closer to your producing co-producers, I guess, Reese and Jen. What was it like working with them, especially in this, kind of COVID umbrella?
They're troopers. I mean, everybody just committed to going back to production during the pandemic. We had excellent safety protocol, but it was still scary. And everybody just suited up and took it on with passion and goodwill. And Reese and Jen were great.
The storyline of Mitch in this season. Can you talk about his storyline and kind of the importance of showing someone who has made bad decisions, but also the need for redemption?
The Mitch story to me was part of Alex's story, was part of her concluding that part of her life and moving past it. And I can't really talk about it more than that without giving away the rest of the arc, but I felt it was an important thing. And I think there's choices you make with a character. You can make him a complete, bad guy who's trying to claw his way back in. I kind of hate that guy. I think that person is horrible. And I thought it was more interesting to show a person who had done bad things and regretted it. And whether or not he regretted it because his life changed, because he lost his power, who knows? But a part of it for him is that he saw himself differently now, and he couldn't reconcile who he is with who he wanted to be, or who he pretended to be all of his life. And that his story is about that living inside of him and him trying to come to terms with it. And it doesn't exonerate him. There's nothing about it that says, oh, he didn't do anything bad. He did do bad things, and he knows he did bad things. It really is about a person who screwed up their life, making terrible, selfish decisions, and can't find their way back to any human position where they can feel okay about themselves.
Right. And that was kind of set up in the first episode with the girl who comes over at the gelato table.
Right.
And it's such a sad thing to think that if someone messes up, well, more than once, but if someone messes up, they can't ever resolve, or they can't ever, find peace.
I mean, it's tough because I also relate to the girl who was angry at him. I think that's one of the things that I tried to do with this show is it really isn't about issues as much as it is about the pain in people and all these issues that are so complicated, and that we're all trying to work and move forward and make it better, but we're also flawed. I do understand where she was coming from, And
kind of to that point, just talking about characters from the show, do you have a character that you think you would be friends with in real life?
I absolutely would be friends with Corey.
Nice. Me too.
I absolutely would be buddies with Corey. And I would be friends honestly with everybody. And it's part of, I love Alex. I don't know if Alex would let me get close to her. Mm-hmm. I love Bradley. I would definitely hanging out with Bradley. I love Yanko. I love Stella. I love Mia. I really, all of them I would be friends with.
The writing is phenomenal. Can you talk a little bit about the writing team and just, how you kind of get these ideas bouncing off each other?
We had a really excellent writer's room, very diverse, a lot of different life experiences. And, writers' rooms in general are, they have a lot of smart, funny people in them. So once you get in a groove, it starts happening.
Can you just kind of describe your thoughts on season 2?
To me, was a reflection of the time we're in. It was meant to pose a lot of questions, to ask people to look at a lot of different views of things, and to take away from that what you will. I mean, we are living right now in a pretty chaotic time in a lot of different ways. As a country, as human beings, socially, we're trying to figure a lot of things out. And I think that the entertainment industry, and I lump the news or the morning news into the entertainment industry, which is not exactly fair, but it's a type of entertainment. But I think it can be very, a lot about success, a lot about power, and I feel like that slowly people are changing a little bit and how they view things. And I really feel like this season was a collision of kind of old thinking and new thinking and people scrambling in it and trying to figure out what was right.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice messaging system. Alex Levy is not available. Please leave a message after the tone.
What the f are you doing, you dumb hole? I thought you wanted me here because you care, not just to assuage your guilt. I mean, they wanted you, I can only guess, because they were under the mistaken impression that they hadn't wrung every little juicy ounce of humanity out of your dry soul the first time around, and then maybe there was some money to be made. But no, you're such an idiot. They were gonna can you, and you come running back to them because you are incapable of loving a human being. So now you turn to the rapidly dwindling, faceless masses who only think they love you because they don't know the real you.
That was such a great interview. Thank you so much. And oh my gosh, now I can't wait to dive into this episode, you guys. I have a few favorite moments, but I would first love to hear about yours. So Kiyra, you want to kick it off?
Oh, I have 2 favorite moments, and one of them is a Chip moment, but I'm not going to steal that from you because I know that it's going to be yours.
She literally got defensive.
She's like, oh!
You see me make a...
But what I really enjoyed, and as tragic as it is when Alex comes off the plane and is told that Mitch has died. And we all know that she just had this wonderful day and a half with him. But the way that they did that scene where she's just holding her mouth and she's not saying anything and it's just music. And I felt her heartbreak, and I just, even though there weren't a lot of words being said at that moment, it was so powerful because, Alex is not a nice person, but to actually see her hurt and really feel for someone other than herself, that was a nice moment for me.
Yeah. Well, I was just impressed that Chip has a station wagon in New York.
He's becoming an old man.
What about you, Kevin?
I love that as well. I think Jennifer did her best work in this episode. And there's probably a couple other things coming up that I'll probably mention, but I did really like Mia's monologue. I thought that was good, and I think we all talked about some of the stuff that she brought up we had mentioned weeks before, where she said, to believe them is to believe you weren't enough on your own. And I was like, oh, just, you knew that's what it was. Like, did he not like me for me? Is what Maggie's saying correct? And that was just heartbreaking. But she also said, I know the real him, and the real him is dead. So I almost feel like there's a little bit of support for him.
There was, and the tail end that she said, she's like, and now I have to write him up in 2 minutes.
Yep.
Like that right there, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
That was, and I loved how Mia apologized to Raina and then, you know, gave her that opportunity to, she explained herself, not to say that what she did to her was right. And I love Mia, I know we all root for her, but to see her actions, you know, made me forgive how awful she was to Raina, because you know I love Raina. The day before, she did a great. Karen Pittman did an excellent job. I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of my favorite moments is a Chip moment.
What?
No.
Shocker. But it's the part where he leaves this message on Alex's machine. And he finally grows his spine. He just leaves this like expletive-filled message. But my favorite part is after when Alex is listening to it in the car.
Yes!
Yeah.
And it totally, okay, do you guys watch Friends?
Yes.
Okay, it totally reminded me of the part in Friends when Rachel, she's on the date, and she leaves a message for Ross saying, and that's what I call closure. And she, in Friends, is trying to get Ross to not listen to the message, just the same way Chip is trying to not let Alex listen to the message. Yes, so I loved that, and just that
We
whole
have a
part.
clip.
Yeah, that whole part was just so, like, you know what's coming, you know what the message is about, you know that, like, they're finally getting along for the first time in a long time, and you know that's only so short-lived. It was great.
But I think it was the fact that Chip was so worried. Like, you saw over the last few episodes his worry escalate. And then to have the realization that Alex could be dead, you know, and he, you know he felt awful about leaving that message, but the fact that he threw up on Chip's desk.
Corey's desk.
Oh, sorry, Chip threw up on Corey's desk and was like, and then Corey was just like, Kevin? But
Yeah.
my favorite, that was definitely my favorite, to watch the two of them in the car, just, you know, having a temper tantrum is like, it was just classic. I loved every
Did
moment.
anyone think that they were going to get into a car accident?
I did.
Okay, because I thought so. I was like, that can't happen.
You know, it's weird I didn't think that.
Because they were having such a fury. They were just both losing it that could have totally happened.
Yeah.
And then when they made it into the driveway, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's so funny. Do you have any another one to share?
Oh, you know, there was that Corey man, like, oh, this is, I mentioned in previous episodes, he's definitely fallen from the tree, and now, like, you've stepped on the apple and the fruit is rotten, because it's like, this is who we're dealing with. Yeah. Like, he's so concentrated on ratings that Mitch has died, and he gives no, you know, he doesn't give any, he doesn't care. He wants Alex to come in and, you know, and announce it on air. And I was just like, oh, you know, the fall from grace is just a lot further.
But didn't he say feelings, doesn't matter if, he goes, feelings ruin your lifeblood.
Yes, and that's the conversation he's having in the elevator with Stella, which I also thought was interesting, because for me, I felt, maybe I'm encroaching on something that you're saying.
Well, it's my least favorite moment of the episode.
But when that was happening, for me, it was kind of setting up Stella he was giving her permission to bulldoze him maybe later down the line because of the conversation she had with Sybil. You know, like, what side are you going to choose? You know, I'm the cockroach. I will still be standing here. Are you going to team up with Corey? And yeah, for me, this episode, there were so many episodes where it's like, I hate Alex. Love to hate Alex, but I don't love hating Corey. And yeah, my heart is broken.
But so, and this isn't one of my favorite moments, clearly, but I did not like the way that Stella reacted to possibly Alex being dead. She didn't seem to care at all. And like every scene they would show her, I'm like, is she going to show any heart at all? She just didn't care.
Yeah.
And I was almost like disturbed by that lack of caring.
I mean, it was kind of nice and humanized the characters when the other competing network called and said, okay, this was one of your own, we'll let you have the story. That was one of the nicest things I think that's happened in this entire season. I'm like, oh, okay.
I was waiting for it to not be nice.
Yeah.
But then the reaction to it was like, oh, you know, we better beat them to the punch.
Exactly.
It was like, oh.
Stella, go, run. Like, oh, okay, well, we enjoyed that for maybe 5 seconds.
Was there another favorite moment for you?
Yeah, you know, the line delivery of when the Italian reporter calls the group and he says, I'm calling for comment on the death of Mitch Kessler, and everyone just, like, you can see them sink. And just how that was said, how that whole scene went down with the one lawyer, I think it was, who gets...
Gerald?
Yeah, gets the call, and you see him in the background, you hear him take the call, and you know what's coming. I thought that was so well done and just so kind of beautifully orchestrated, too, like on screen, and that... Yeah, I mean, it was heartbreaking, but once that hit, then just the ball started rolling of like, okay, now we've got an episode. Like, things are moving fast, and yeah, I really liked that.
Were you going to say something?
I was.
Go ahead.
I was, because as I said, you know, I love to hate Alex, and Alex gets hers in this episode from Paige.
She did. That was one of my...
Let's talk about it.
No, it's
Yeah.
fine. Because there's another thing I wanted to talk about too. But yeah, I liked it, and I liked... Here's the thing, like, I like that people are giving it back to Alex, but I feel like you see her progressively realizing what she's done. And maybe it's almost like she is unaware of it. I really do believe that. I feel like she's just been so focused on her career and herself and her family and this, that she doesn't realize what she's done. It doesn't matter because she's too focused on something else. So for when people confront her, I think she's legitimately like, oh, right. Like, I slept with your husband. And I would go to parties and hug you. And she's like, you kept on doing that, and you didn't mean anything.
But but for me, Paige got her redemption.
Sure.
You know, and Alex got hers, and I enjoyed watching that, and especially when Paige closes the door and she like cries at the end.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, essentially she just told, you know, Alex to F off, you know, closes the door. And to see, like, she was still hurting. And I was like, oh, yeah, Paige got hers, but it's still, you know, she still loses. She still loses in the end. So.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And what was interesting, too, was how Alex calls Bradley and says, hey, I want you to report this, which is another handoff of big news, like the debate. And so she's giving Bradley a lot of responsibility, which kind of leads into one of my predictions. But if anyone has a favorite moment.
I have one more.
Okay.
Because I think we haven't really talked about it, because we all said, and we even asked the man himself, do you think he's in love with Alex? And then she picks up on it, and she's like, are you jealous? And then she says, I will never,
Yeah.
so blah, 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 to you ever, like never, ever. And you could see the pain in his face, like, okay, now it's like I finally know the absolute truth. Like, I might have suspected she wasn't into me, but now I know.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was kind of painful, and you could see that just the divide happen right there. Like, they're not going to be friends.
Yeah. And he had just had a fight with his girlfriend, so he was probably feeling really low. Yeah.
They're all just hell in a handbasket.
But that's why we love the show, right?
Exactly.
Because our lives seem much better than theirs.
Yes. Much more tame.
Just poorer.
But we can sleep in. We don't have to wake up so early. I guess that's like a benefit.
3:30.
No, thank you.
Oh my gosh, no.
But I wouldn't mind somebody driving me to work every morning, like rolling out of bed and then having hair. Well, we do have hair and makeup here, but like rolling out of bed and then just showing up and then, you know, somebody glamorizing me while I'm drinking my coffee. I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yeah, same.
And being
actually.
paid at $25 million.
Yeah.
Or, you know, why not?
I'll take it, I guess.
Why not?
So I have a few predictions, but let's start. Kevin, you're the king of predictions.
You are the king of predictions.
I would love to hear what you think.
I actually only really had one for this episode.
Okay.
And it's really not even a great, this is really bad. I just wrote Alex will soften. Like, I feel like it's her Mitch season, you know, like Mitch learned his lesson. I mean, we didn't get that until this season where we saw him change, but I feel like she's now really getting it. And in the next episode or two, she's really going to change her whole persona. Hopefully. Come on, give her some. She has to have an arc. But then I don't know where they're going to go with it. If she does soften and she becomes, like, is it just going to be her and Alex or Bradley going to be buddies? Like, there needs to be, not a villain, but there needs to be some tension.
There has to be a villain.
I know where the tension's coming from.
Well, there has to be a villain, and right now, in my eyes, it's shifted from Alex to Corey. But, you know, I predict that Corey is just going to get worse, and I don't know in what manner, you know, because at this point, his job is on the line. And the last couple episodes, for me, it's like, what happened to the guy from episode 2 and 3, where, you know, he was trying to, you know, defend Hannah and whatnot. And that guy has seemed to disappear in these next couple episodes. And I don't like the Corey that we see. I don't like the Corey that turns and, like, you know, confronts everybody this way.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe that was the guy that he's always been, and now we're just seeing that side. And I have a feeling that something's going to happen with Corey. Either, you know, they're going to find out that he outed Laura and Bradley, or the fact that he was paid out, or he paid Frank out in order to get that position, or I'll just throw them all out there. or Stella stabs him in the back. I have a feeling that's just kind of like the conversation she's had with Sybil, and then the conversation that she had with Corey in the elevator. I have a feeling that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, I don't necessarily like it for the two of them, but, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
How about you, Morgan?
Okay, so going back to the Alex Bradley thing, I noticed that, yeah, Alex was giving Bradley a lot more responsibility. In the beginning of this episode, I think it was Corey, since he is becoming more numbers and ratings obsessed, he's like, oh.
The streaming service.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Bradley
streaming
and Laura, their numbers are great. Like, the ratings are, we want Alex, but, like, we don't need her because ratings are up. And then Alex says something to Bradley. She says, everything's changing, and you were the start of that change. So all of these things, I thought, like, well, what if Alex just passes the baton to Bradley?
To Laura? Oh.
Or maybe Laura.
I feel like Laura and Bradley are going to stick.
Yeah.
And then their relationship's going to fall apart. And then they're going to have conflict there. And then Alex maybe will take over Laura's nighttime show. Because they're going to want to keep her around.
They did promise that to her, a primetime show.
Primetime shows. So if maybe they just move Laura to morning, they're going to hate each other. Well, Laura's going to hate her for taking her spot.
Yeah.
So there could be some conflict there if they want to get rid of the normal Alex and Bradley conflict that they've had.
But you know what?
Yeah.
I just want to. Can we talk about Laura though? Because I love that Laura, and you know how cynical I am, and I was like, I don't know if I trust her. I really enjoyed Juliana Margulies and Laura. She really was the, you know, just the random person that walked in. I think that's basically what she said in your interview, that Laura is the person, the calm that walks into the sandstorm. Is that what she said?
Exactly. I was like, that's exactly right.
And I was so wrong that she didn't have an ulterior motive. Like she is like the pure person walking into this, you know.
I still don't think she doesn't have an ulterior motive.
No.
Yeah, I feel like she's gathering a lot of information. Maybe she's going to write her own book.
Maybe.
But only like maybe if her and Bradley don't work out, or if somebody does something horrible to her. But there's still something about her I don't totally trust, and I don't totally like her motheriness.
I'm going to jump at you. You gave me an idea.
Did you?
Oh, I know that.
So it's still my prediction.
It's still your prediction. But I can't remember if we actually discussed this on the show, if this was something that, you know, we were just, you know, talking in the green room. But, you know, Alex still hasn't written that last chapter.
Oh, right.
Yes.
So, you know, maybe.
It's going to be her forgiveness chapter.
Oh.
It'll be the Mitch and forgiveness, or
It'll
asking
be a
for
long
forgiveness.
chapter.
She might scrap the whole book and just do Mitch.
That's true.
Ooh,
But I'm still wondering what is in this book.
I know.
So
I am too.
We will find out hopefully soon.
Hopefully in this
The
season.
Season's almost over. We only have 2 left.
One more prediction I had, or just kind of a funny thing I noted, was that there's one line in the background of one of the scenes that says 60 novel cases of coronavirus. LOL, 60. Like, COVID has to ramp up at some point.
I feel like
Soon.
next season's must be the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Which will be interesting. And I hope they don't skip over it, but
Right.
Well, it would be strange for them to skip over it,
Yeah.
considering I hope that we're still not in it when they do season 3, but it would be kind of strange for them to skip over a whole 2 years
Right.
of.
right.
But
And
it'd
what
be
if they
interesting.
started wearing the mask? The pregnant
Raina.
Yeah. Well, so part of that, so Paula was in the hospital, she says, with Mitch, right? And if she's in the hospital in Italy when COVID was crazy, do you think she maybe caught it in the hospital?
She could.
But can
I mean, I
we?
assume she's coming back because of the documentary. So
Yeah.
I assume we'll see her again, but
Yeah.
how soon?
Yeah.
But again, and we talked about this, I think, last episode with with Alex asking Mitch if she could drink from his bottle. Like, that was so blatant. All of us totally were like, that would not happen in the time of COVID, but, she's in Italy, so I'm wondering, like, I know that kind of raised a flag for all of us, so,
Yeah.
and she's coming back,
Right.
so who knows what happens.
From the epicenter, which is Italy,
Exactly.
that was like the first big hit place other than China.
So, I mean, would they kill off 2?
I don't think they'll kill off, but it'll be definitely
Interesting.
well that. I think it'll definitely be a plot point with a major character. But I feel like they're still going to kill somebody, but it's probably going to be somebody.
It's going to be Ty.
It'll be Ty. Or
We've been wanting to kill Ty off all season.
Sorry, Ty.
and he hasn't been around. For
No, he hasn't.
Maybe they're like, what do we do with this one? Where's Augustus Prue? He was the one I liked in the last season. He left. He's always in the background looking cute.
Yeah. I'll take it. Well, I can't wait for episode 9, and I can't believe we have to wait an entire week to talk about it. That seems cruel. But that's our show for today. Thank you so much for spending the morning with us on the morning show, after show. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notifications bell here on YouTube. You can also find us on Twitter at HCA Critics and follow us on Instagram at Hollywood Critics Association. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Morgan Rojas.
I'm Kiyra Lynn.
I'm Kevin Taft.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone. 2 more episodes left.